Hello everyone, I hope you're well. Good evening, good afternoon. If you're here in London, if you're abroad, good night, good morning, whatever it might be. My name's Nicole Louis, CEO and founder of All About Families and Nicole's Launchpad, step-by-step course that teaches social workers how to be independent. So today I'm coming on really quickly to give you a tip about real work-life balance as an independent social worker, and this is specifically for Winston Mawson, Akia Bodkin and Lillian Shepherd, because you three in particular asked about this and is a bit worried about this as a topic to be able to progress and move forward as an independent. So I've got some tips and ideas and things to share with you about the subject of work-life balance. One of the main reasons why I became freelance is for work-life balance, and I always envisaged that I would be independent and I wouldn't be in one place all the time. I'd have lots of different things going on simultaneously, and that my week would be very varied, very hectic, which is how I tick. I like that. And it will be full and fruitful and have lots of variety. And it is just that. And I'm able to slow it down or step it up as I like, which is brilliant. So there are a few things that I want to take you through. First of all, what is work-life balance? It's really a balance of your personal life and your business life, your professional life. Okay, and some of those overlap, but they have their own individual elements. And so I guess thinking about that, what do we understand about what work-life balance is? Can we really achieve the balance? So when you think about balance, you think about the scale. And the reality is you will hardly ever be fully balanced consistently for a long period of time. There's going to be some spanner that gets thrown in the works and you've got to kind of put something on the shelf for a short time, even if it's for a couple of days or a week or two, depending on what it is. It might be months to focus on something else and then go back to it. It's about having a basis from which to work. I have found that for the most part I am consistently balanced with my work and my personal life. There are times when work gets full and gets heavy and gets hectic, and so things kind of get put on the shelf a little bit. And I'll tell you a bit more about that later. But for the most part, it's predominantly balanced, which is what really you're trying to achieve. It should be the rule as opposed to the exception. And I think as social workers, wherever we are around the globe and whatever setting that we are in, you know, life in general for people have become more complex, and families have more complex issues and individuals, and so we're dealing with a lot more issues and for longer periods with less resources, and so it makes our work much busier as social workers. And so our ability to have work-life balance when we're working for somebody else is very difficult unless you're somewhere where you've really been there for a long time, or it's a setting that really allows you that kind of flexibility. So for the most part, hey Rachel, so for the most part we wouldn't experience work-life balance in the way that we would want to, and in a way that we really understand work-life balance to be. We might think when we're in a social work setting that we are practicing work-life balance, but for the most part we're not. Even if we get to go out sometimes with friends and socialise, it's not real work-life balance. So let's go through what work-life balance really is, what it really looks like as an independent social worker. So really it's where your day is broken down into segments and where you're able to do the things that you want and that you need to do personally and professionally. And that can be in the short term and the long term. So it suits all phases of your life, and it really allows you to grow personally and professionally. I've made some notes so that I don't forget anything and so I don't waffle. And so it needs to include a routine. And one of the, in Nicole's 7 Keys to You Becoming Independent, which is like a mini course to Nicole's Launchpad, I go through what kind of the routine, what it needs to include. So where I look at what you need to do to sort out your personal affairs, routine is one of them. And we're particularly bad as social workers to have a really strict routine with ourselves that allows us to be as healthy emotionally, physically, mentally, as possible, that where we take care of ourselves properly. And so one things that I really committed to doing, and I'm somebody, I showed you this the other day, but like I love diaries, I like writing things down, and so I kind of mapped out my day, and I've chosen a week where there's nothing in it just for confidentiality. But you can see that I've kind of marked out and carved, put lines in certain places. Not sure if you can see that. Okay. The reason why I do that is to give myself a template in which to work. And so the bits where you see the lines are either my meal times, so that I don't skip meals, and so that I'm consistent with my body, and my body knows and is able to regulate itself, and knows when a meal is coming, and when I'm gonna rest, when I'm gonna read, when I'm gonna have exercise. That routine is built in, so it's consistent across the day. Now, your routine may vary from weekday to weekend, or even if you go on holiday, but imagine we're not on holiday and it's just your normal work week, then your weekend routine might differ slightly. The good thing about having something written down where you set the pace of how you're going to operate and when your working hours are going to be is that you set the rules, really. You can choose to have an extended weekend where, you know, Friday, Saturday and Sunday is your weekend, or Friday and Saturday is your weekend. You work Sunday to Friday. That's what I tend to do, and that I quite like. That works well for me. It breaks the week up a bit when everyone is kind of off going to work and still stressing. I'm still kind of on the weekend. My weekend's already started. Sometimes I change it around and I make it a Saturday, Sunday and a Monday. Depends on what I've got on, and I might condense my hours and work in a different way, or just take a day off. When you work for yourself, you've got the flexibility to do things like that. And so it's important that you've got a template for yourself that you can at least work within and you can be flexible with, but you've got something that will encourage and support your development and support you having a balance. So the elements that you really want to include is ensuring that you've got work carved out in that routine. So that's personal work. So that's like your chores around the house, if you're single like me and live on your own, or even if you've got a partner or children, you know, you've got to have some kind of routine personally. So it will include that, and it will include your business work as well. So actually your administrative tasks, your marketing, going to deliver the service, networking, whatever it might be, research, whatever it might be. It should also include rest, which is different to play and entertainment and hobbies. It's different. Rest is where you've got downtime, where your mind is able to rest, where you're not thinking, where you're shutting off, and you're mentally and emotionally preparing yourself to sleep, so that you have the best sleep as possible. Also, play should be included in that. So that does include like socializing, going out, having fun, going to holidays, going on day trips, being spontaneous, and maybe choosing to go and work in a different location. Whatever it might be, just talking about it is really exciting because I like being able to do that. Hobbies as well should be included. It's important that you have a hobby. Think about hobbies and things that you used to like when you were younger, or that you've always wanted to do that you never have done. Being independent is the time to do it. You can do it if you decide to. The ball is in your court completely. You set the rules. You're the business owner. And then there should be time for spiritual, social and personal development as well. That might include reading, that might include prayer, that might include meditation, whatever it is that you do. It might include meeting up or going on retreats, whatever it might be, things that can really help you to, again, balance. Those are the elements that you really want to work in from week to week. Some of those things you may do once a month and not every week, but you want to work it in on a weekly basis somehow, and ink it in so that if you haven't got it in this week, you've got it in next week, or whatever the case may be. I tend to do my diary quarterly, so for the next 3 months, you know, it's all kind of mapped out in that way. So all I've got to do is put my things in between where they fit in. And that's really easy. I'm able to see where I'm available and where I'm not. And what that's forced me to do, it really has helped me, because when I first started, I wasn't so good with work-life balance, and I just used to put clients in wherever I could fit them in, and I found I was kind of rushing around. And again, it was that institutionalization of working the way I used to work, which was working like a paid train, like a donkey, like a racehorse, and not really stopping and thinking about what I was doing and thinking about what I needed. So when I kind of did the lines and created boundaries for myself, I found that when I tried to put a client in, I was like, oh no, I've already got something in there that's lined out. And so the only available time is here. And then I'd say, well, I've kind of got something that I'm doing there already. So my next available appointment is here. And, you know, I found that clients did not have a problem with that because they don't know anything about my diary. They just know that I'm available when I'm saying I'm available. And I think I used to feel to myself, oh my gosh, I really need to make myself available right now because they're asking for this service and I'm providing them a service. So I need to jump and ask that, you know, I need to jump and ask them how when they've told me to jump. And it's not that. I can tell you, I promise you that there are such benefits to doing it because your clients will wait. I was in Malaysia for the whole of January and I had clients contacting me for work. For those of you that don't know, I provide, among other things, I provide expert witness reports for people with immigration issues and family law issues. So I have a lot of solicitors give me repeat work. And I had a particular solicitor that came back and wanted me to do a set of work for their client, and they marked it as urgent. It was urgent. So I responded and I said, well, I'm not available until, I think it was like 3 weeks time, because I was out there for the whole month. So it was like 2.5 to 3 weeks time. And I offered to do the interview via Skype, and they came back and said, we'd prefer it to be face to face, so we'll wait. And I guess they did that, and that's happened on several occasions before, and it's because they know the quality of my work, they trust my work, and they want me to be the person to be providing the service. They can get an expert witness report, we're a dime a dozen, you know, but they wanted me, they were willing to wait for me and my expertise to provide the report and the service that I provide. And so when you have built that kind of reputation, and your brand is such that people know the quality of your work and they're willing to wait or come back for you, come back to you time again, then, you know, you do not have to rush yourself. And even when you're just starting out, it's important that if you can start off on the right foot as early as possible, it will benefit you leaps and heaps. So it's better to put that in place from the get-go, that you say to yourself, these are going to be my working hours and my clients will have to fit into that, because they don't know any different. If you genuinely had another client in there, you couldn't provide them the service at that time on that day, so you'd have to negotiate with them the next suitable time. And so you have to treat yourself and your well-being in the same vein, that you are so important, you are so precious, especially if you're the only one in your business. If you're not well, there's nobody there to deliver your service. And so your whole empire crumbles if you suddenly go off sick or if you've worked yourself into the ground. So it's imperative that you're taking care of yourself and recognizing that you deserve to have work-life balance. So that's what I would say as far as, what was that? Was that my phone? Sorry. Hey, Joanna. And so what I would say, it's important to have that balance. The other thing that I would want to talk to you about is what to expect when you first start. When you first start being independent and you first start your work-life balance journey in particular, because you could be an independent social worker and have no work-life balance at all. But when you start your work-life balance, what you can expect are two things: overwhelm and guilt. So you will and you might go through phases of both, where you will feel like, I used to feel this all the time, like when I would go to play tennis, or when I would decide that actually I'm going to sit and watch a TV program, or I'm going to go to my niece's play in the middle of the day, I'd be thinking, oh my God, I've got like this report that I should do. Oh my God, I've got emails that I need to respond to. And I'd be sitting there going like that. And I'd be thinking, and I had to really condition myself and do a lot of self-talk and talk myself down and say, Nicole, you're the one running this business. You don't answer to anybody. Your work is not going anywhere. It's not urgent. It's not something that's emergency work that you're having to deal with right now. You are able to take your time and take this time and invest in your relationships with your family and invest in your downtime and enjoy life, enjoy your work. You've become independent so you can enjoy your life, and this is part of enjoying it. And those are the kind of things that I had to say to myself, and I had to do that a lot in the beginning for it to sink in. And it was then that I realized I was institutionalized. I was conditioned to think in a certain way, that I had to run my business the way I was an employee. But I had to, all of this that I'm describing was a mindset shift. It was helping me in my mindset to shift so that I can step into the boots and shoes of a CEO, of a business owner, of somebody who's competent and confident and has a good, healthy lifestyle and attitude to work life and ethics. So overwhelm was the other one that I would sometimes feel, because I guess sometimes when I felt guilty and there was lots on and lots of things to do, I found in the beginning I'd feel really overwhelmed, and sometimes I still do, can feel that moment of overwhelm, but it's much easier to put to bed and refocus on myself. Whereas there were times it would last for days, it would last for weeks, I kind of go around in circles. I'd still be getting on with work, but I wasn't as productive as I could have been necessarily, because I was still trying to figure things out. I was still figuring out my niche. There were so many places that I still hadn't got to in my journey, that I was grappling with it all and learning it all at the same time. Now there are new things that I'm learning, but because I've come so far, I've been able to look back and utilize the same skills and ideas and say, okay, this is what I can do. This is a way I can resolve it. And I also have my support network that I spoke about yesterday, I think, about how to have a support network. And so I've had people that I can bounce ideas off of. And so that's really important, that you understand what you're going to expect. And it's completely normal if you feel that, or any other feelings. If you have any other feelings, Joanna, Helen, Rachel, if you're already independent, or you know people that are independent, what do they say about how they feel? Do they feel overwhelmed? Do they feel guilt when they're thinking about work-life balance or trying to implement that into their life? In your work that you do now, even if you're not independent, do you experience that when you try to, as an employee, do something for yourself, have a weekend off, knowing that you've got reports that need to be done for Monday and your deadline's Monday, and you should be working on the Sunday or the Saturday to get it written up, but instead you're taking time out? Do you feel guilty? I guess those are things and questions that you should ask yourself. And do the self-talk. Remind yourself that you're investing in you when you do this. The benefits is that you see the progress, because you're chipping away at all these different layers: personal, professional, your spiritual, your emotional, your social side. You're developing your relationships, your business is still building, you're having your enough rest, you've got time to cook proper meals for yourself. You're seeing all these things being chipped away at, and you're progressing in all these areas at the same time. And so you can look back and see a holistic progress that you've made as an independent social worker. That is the main benefit that I have found, adopting a work-life balance regime for myself, and being strict with it as well. So I really do not go outside of the boundaries of my work hours that you saw in that diary where I carved out. I do not do it. I'm consistent with myself, and I remind myself that I have to stick to it because it's for my benefit. And it sets the precedence also. And it's really putting me in the mindset of being a CEO and a business owner, and it's allowing me to step into that shoes and reminds me of who I am and my identity. I'm no longer just a social worker. I'm a business owner who happens to be a social worker, and everything else personally. So for those of you that are already independent or are halfway independent, I'd love to hear how you incorporate work-life balance. And if you're not independent and you work for an organization or an employee somewhere, and you're still wanting to become independent, even if you're not sure how, but you would like to be independent, I'd love to hear in the comments how you manage work-life balance as it stands right now, and what would you like to change. So yeah, share with me what you'd like to do. I said earlier that I would tell you a little bit about me sometimes not getting work-life balance right and work getting in the way. So here's the funny thing. I may have already told you this, but I don't think I have. But I'm working on a top and a skirt set because I'm learning to sew. You might know that. And I posted pictures of me at my sewing machine with, sewing away. And so I'm making a set, and I literally I've cut out the pattern because I kind of created the pattern, and I put it on the material, and I have to trace the seam lines that I'm going to sew onto the fabric with my tracing wheel and my tracing paper, and then I have to just sew it up. That's it. That's probably going to be like a 4-hour job, and I kid you not, the whole of March I said I'm going to do it, and I've actually got it on my desk in my bedroom to take out. I actually put it out intentionally so I wouldn't forget it, and I keep walking past it like, today, me and you, today. And the whole of March has gone and I have not done it yet. But I live in hope that April is going to be the month that I'm going to do it, because March has flown by. It has been phenomenal how quickly the days and weeks have gone. And I just don't know where it's gone. And my full skirt and my top has not yet been finished. But I promise it's going to be finished. And when I do it, I'm going to post it and you're going to see it. So yeah, I'm work-life balance. Yay. So drop in the comments below how you manage work-life balance, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Bye.